All right, I'm back with part four. Okay, not the final part as I promised in the previous video. Okay, but there's just so much dopeness to talk about. No Limit Records. What a record label. All right, they got so many classics, so many near classics with dope tracks on it. One of the best production teams ever. KLC, one of the top rap producers ever. Some of the best albums and songs ever released. Okay, I really can't say enough good things about No Limit Records and the roster they had and the catalog they have. So this time out, okay, last video I went into the Masterpiece Solo Collection. This time out, I'm going to get into the TRU catalog. All right, we're going to go through the TRU albums. Well, most of them. All right, there's a couple I don't own. The very first TRU project is I believe it's another 4-song EP called "Mind of a Psychopath." Extremely rare. It's like a black and white cover with not really any artwork, just the songs and the title on it. And it's also very expensive and very rare. And it's from 1990, where Master P was still kind of getting in the game, getting his feet wet, and all that sort of thing. All right, it's a decent album. All right, it is decent. I've heard it like on YouTube or whatever, but I haven't seen any copies for sale. And again, much like the very first Master P album and The Ghetto's Trying to Kill Me, I would probably go for hundreds of dollars. And it's probably something that at some point, if I happen to find it, I'll make a different video about it or something, right? But we're really going to jump in to TRU's first full-length album, which I happen to have on cassette and CD, and I believe it's the same version. Okay, I've got this cassette right here. Okay, Understanding the Criminal Mind. And then I also have this CD, which is a little bit different. Okay, the CD right here is a little different. You can see EA Ski is on there. And the TRU lineup at the time, uh, it looks like there's 5 rappers here. Okay, the lineup was pretty flexible, especially in the early years. So you had different members come and go. Master P was always in the group, of course. All right, this is Master P's group, and of course, '92 he released this album right here, which is pretty cool. It's like the early Master P solo albums where he's just kind of learning how to rap and learning how to make music and everything. And the music kept getting better, much like the Master P solo albums. And of course, he's in Richmond at the time. On the Master P solo albums, right? He even has a song on one of those early tapes there. He has a song called Rich Town. He was like representing Richmond to the fullest, but he would also have like occasional lines in his song where he like make a New Orleans reference, like to maybe the second line or something, or but for the most part, okay, this was like West Coast music. It was like, the stuff he was rapping about was like who riding and hoochies and all that sort of stuff. But when he moved to New Orleans, of course, he kind of picked up on that kind of slang, and you know what? It kind of makes sense because when you're in a different city or different state or province or whatever, you end up just picking up on like the lingo, and you end up picking up on like the accents and everything, and then you go back to your hometown, you start picking up on that accent pretty quick again. It happens, all right. So I want to say it's all legit. And Master P started in Richmond, got his game from there, took it all back to New Orleans, and ran with it, of course, as we all know. And that is the first TRU album. We also have a couple TRU singles from '92 as well, singles that were not on the album. This one is also black and white right here. I should hold it up, right? There we go. This is the Real Untouchables, as they were known as at the time. They weren't quite TRU yet, even though on a couple songs they refer to themselves as TRU. So here there's only 2 members here, okay? But and you got P with the brick phone and everything, all right? This is one single I've got from '92. This is a single, a Christmas single right here. Okay, this is Christmas in the Ghetto. And again, it's okay. It's not nothing too crazy, right? But it's the beginning parts of TRU. TRU got a little bit better on the next album right here. Okay, now this is a reissue. Okay, this is a reissue from a few years later because it says the original members of TRU, but at the time they weren't the original members, they were just the members. So this one's a reissue. This is from 1993. Who's the Killer? Okay, and this album right here it's pretty good. It's an improvement for sure. And one of the things about this album right here is one of the songs on here, track 9, is called "Ghetto Is a Trap," and I want to say it's the first time in rap music that it was referred to as a trap, and of course that just became like the word to use years later. So you could say that Master P was an innovator on many fronts, including a pioneer of the trap. Okay, you could give him credit for that for sure. We also got this right here. This is a single right here from '93. Let them know what's going on. This is a pretty cool single right here, and this is the back of it right here. And you can see once again, EA Ski and CMT got production credits on here. Once again, they were rolling with P early on, even though they had platinum albums with Spice One at the time, right? So, but P being a hustler that he is, he got all these producers and artists to work with him early on, and that just shows you what kind of a person he was. He is like a not only is he a hustler, but he's also, you got to treat people right, and you got to like be good with people in order for people to want to work with this no name guy from the South. Like, you can't just be anybody and get all these artists on your compilation albums and everything. So anyway, we got the first of 2 classic TRU albums right here. Okay, and this is TRU from 1995. This is once they got their priority deal. And you can see right here that this is, it's a pretty cool album cover right here. This is apparently Big Ed and King George linking up right here, the 2 arms. And you can see this right here. This is definitely influenced by NWA. Okay, you can see right here, this is basically straight out of Compton, more or less. And you can even see what they're wearing. They're wearing the khakis and the white shirts. And someone's got Chucks on there. Okay, you can see it right there. All right, you can see the West Coast influence, and even in the production. Okay, this is still very much West Coast right here. Even them using like 3 letters as the initials here is just kind of like NWA. It's kind of like their version of NWA, right on down to the Straight Outta Compton album cover right here. This album's dope. There's a little bit of EA Ski on here. There is definitely a lot of K-Lou. You can hear K-Lou's beats on here. He has a unique, specific version of the mob music sound. It's very himself. Okay, it's very K-Lou-ish. And the one thing about this album is that even though it mostly sounds like the West Coast, the monster hit on here is basically the song that pretty much sent them down south, all right? And that is, of course, that's I'm About It. And that song is like right in the middle of this album, and it's still kind of West Coast. It got like those synthesizers, those G-Funk synthesizers, but the beat itself is slower. It's a little more bouncier, and I believe it was Craig B that produced that. And that's when Beats by the Pound were starting to form. Moby Dick is on, produced several songs on here. Moby Dick got down with the crew after a chance meeting. Moby Dick is actually Master P's cousin. And I don't think KLC is on here yet. I could be wrong. I want to say KLC had something to do with About It. but I don't see his name written on here. So I got to go back and fact check that. I want to say it might have been a co-production, but regardless, this is mostly K-Lou and EA Ski, CMT. DJ Daryl is on here as well. So it's mostly a West Coast album, but you could see that About It was on here, and it was like more of a Southern track. Definitely a Southern track lyrically, right? Like if you listen to the song, he's just like shouting out all the wards. He's like name dropping a whole bunch of stuff that's in New Orleans, and he's rapping slower and harder. It's like you could see the shift happening in real time, so that when this dropped, oh my God, this is the best No Limit album right here. It's definitely in the top three. Okay, this album is so hard. This is a 2-disc album. This dropped in '97 when No Limit were pretty much at its peak. And this is the lineup, the trimmed down lineup that we most know TRU from, right? Kind of like how Ghetto Boys have like a whole bunch of different lineups, but the one you know, the one you associate Ghetto Boys with is the Willie D and Scarface and Bushwick Bill. Well, it's the same thing right here, right? Here you got TRU. It's like the three brothers. It's Master P, C Murder, Silk the Shocker, and they're all rapping like they've never rapped before. They really know what they're doing on this album, and this is the best album in general of 1997. Right? There's nothing goes harder than this. This is probably the best album on No Limit. If you're watching this video and you're like, you know what, I never really liked No Limit, but I want to give them a chance, I would go with this album right here. All right, this is so hard. And the thing about this is like the first disc of this album is mostly the radio songs. I don't want to say radio because TRU's not really on the radio. I guess they're not really that kind of, but like the choruses are like remakes of '80s songs, so it's kind of like a little bit more radio friendly. So all the singles came off of this first disc, and then when you get to the second disc, which is usually double albums usually fall off on the second disc. This album actually gets stronger on the second disc, and then when you get to about halfway down the second disc, it actually reaches its peak. Like what double albums reach its peak on the second half of the second disc? Look at these songs right here, right? You got Pop Goes My Nine. What a killer song. Man, that is just so insane. And then Torture Chamber. And then you think, all right, they got They Can't Be Stopped. And then track 11 on disc 2 is The Lord Is Testing Me, which is one of the best No Limit songs ever to exist. All right. So basically, this album right here, it starts off hard, starts off with all dope songs right here. Okay, a couple of killer album cuts near the end of disc 1. And then disc 2 goes absolutely insane and then keeps its foot on the gas all the way through to the end. One thing I'll say about this album is that I have the second pressing, and this is still 1997, but the first pressing is one extra song on there that's not on this, and that is Smoking Green. Smoking Green had some sort of sample issue where they had to remove it from the disc. And, as a reasonable adult, I'm thinking, well, for the sake of one song, I don't need to buy two versions of this album. But now that I'm actually saying it out loud, I think I do. And I think I have to actually go cop that other version that dropped initially in '97. And there's some other differences between the two versions too. When they removed Smoking Green, they tacked on a couple of, like, there's a solo Silk and a solo C Murder song near the end of disc 1, and then that bumped a couple of the disc 1 songs down to disc 2. So there are some minor variations, but it's basically Smoking Green that is the song that's missing. And that is the absolute peak of the TRU catalog. It might be the peak of No Limit, really, but I mean, you can't really say that without going into its monster 1998 year. I have this album right here from 1999 This is the Crime Family, and it's the same lineup, right? It's just the three brothers. They're wearing suits instead of ski masks, and maybe that's an indication that things are not as hard as the last album. Even Lil Wayne took a shot on The Block is Hot, and he said something about ain't trying to wear no suits because we ain't trying to be presidents. And I think that's what he was referring to, is maybe not just this album in particular, but there was a few albums in No Limit albums in 99 where they start wearing suits. They weren't really getting jiggy or anything like that, but it was more of like a less street, more mafioso, maybe. I'm not going to say this album is not hard. Like, first of all, look at what's on track 2 of disc 1, Hootie Hoo. That's one of the all-time killer No Limit tracks. And there's some dope songs on here. But this being a double album is mostly what most double albums are, which is something that could really be trimmed down to one album and just kind of cashing in on. I feel like this should be trimmed down to one album. Maybe they should be rocking ski masks on here again, but that doesn't really affect the music, I don't think. But yeah, there's this album is decent and it's worth having, and there's definitely some good songs. Hootie Hoo, of course, is a killer song, but overall the quality was dipping, and that's the last TRU album I have. I have this single right here, which is from the album, True Homies. Not really a good song. He basically reuses that Rappin' Forte hook that he made popular a few years ago, which is an old song from the Spinners from the 70s. Rappin' Forte did it much better. This song's not really that great. The cover art, not really anything too cool about this. No extras on the single, but just thought I'd break that out anyway. And I also have this other single that I should have put in with the Master P video for part 3. This one is Goodbye to My Homies, which is a lesser version of I Miss My Homies from the previous year, right? So I Miss My Homies by Master P featuring Pimp C. Dope song. This one is like a part 2 to that. It's a lesser version of it. It's not as good. UGK are not on there. The hook is nowhere near I Miss My Homies, but it does have a non-album song on there, which is Goodbye to My Home. Oh, sorry, Homie Ride, which is not on any of their albums. So lots of homies going on here. Okay, the True Homies is not a third sequel to I Miss My Homies. That's just his own homie song right there, right? But that's just a couple singles that I thought I'd bring to you. And then there was another TRU album from maybe 2005 or so that I haven't listened to in a whole lot of years, but I remember it not being good. And I don't own it, and there's no real reason to mention that too much unless you're a real completist and you want to check it out. But if you're really checking out TRU, okay, this is the one you want to go to, all right? So really, if I were to put my highlights on here, okay, these would be my highlights from the Master P and TRU set. Okay, this right here, absolutely necessary. This album, I can't say enough good things about this. Okay, this is the killer No Limit album. Definitely the ultimate TRU album from 97. And then also from 97, you got this, which some people would argue is better than the TRU album, but the TRU album has a lot more focus to it. It's a certain kind of album. This album right here is more like commercial hard music, all right? It's still it's not like super commercial, but there's more choruses on there. There's like a lot more guests. Okay, he was kind of setting up his label at the time, the next generation of rappers. And Ice Cream Man. In fact, I would put Ice Cream Man and True to the Game. These are probably like, maybe these are like number 1 and 2 in the catalog. Of course, there's still a lot of albums we haven't gotten to yet that we'll get to in part 5. But these from 96 and 97, these are killer albums right here. And you also can't go wrong with this. If you want West Coast No Limit, this might be the best album right here. All right, this TRU album right here. And yeah, so this is part four, where we went through the TRU collection. There's definitely at least a part five. Okay, we still got to go through Mia X. We got to go through Mac, Keen and Abel. We might have done Keen and Abel already. I'll have to go back and check. There's still like Lil Rick. There's still Dangerous Dame. There's a whole bunch of stuff to go through. Skullduggery. And a whole bunch of stuff that I'm not even thinking about right now. So stay tuned for definitely a part five. It's coming your way. But for right now, we're going to leave you with parts 3 and 4, Master P and TRU. Hope you're enjoying this series as much as I'm having fun dropping it for you. And going to see everybody in another week or so.